Hi and welcome back to the Ride Share Buddy UK YouTube channel. My name's Kevin, and just a quick recap of everything that's happened at Weflex and what my feelings are and stuff like that. So let's start with a quick recap. So I opted to have an ID.4 from Weflex, which was great, fantastic car, loved the car, more of that later. I collected it. I managed to get a cancellation for an MOT test, for the taxi test. So it was only a couple of days from when I signed for it and I got the taxi test. So I collected the car, took it down to the MOT station, and it failed its MOT, two faulty rear tyres, and both front suspension arm bushes had gone, were split. So that wasn't great. So I contacted Weflex saying, look, you know, it's broken, not repaired. Can we deal with this? And at that time, I also said, I've cancelled my authority for you to take payments on a continuous payments authority from my bank. So I wasn't going to pay any more money until I got a usable car. So that was done on a Monday. I called on a Monday to Weflex support, hanging on the phone for 20 minutes, nobody answering. So I rang the accounts, and the accounts answered almost straight away because I said I opted for the payments option. And I told them that the car had failed the tax test. What are you going to do to be able to put this right? And they said, well, we can't do anything about it. You'll have to go to, I could put you through to support. I said, well, I waited there for 20 minutes, nobody's answering the phone, and guess what, you can either speak to support or to sales. So I put me through to support, and I waited on the phone for another 10 minutes, 15 minutes, nobody answered the phone. So I hung up, I called up sales, got through straight away to sales and said, look, the car's failed its MOT, and he goes, well, I can't do anything about it, you'll have to talk to support. I said, nobody's answering the phone, and at that stage I hung up. So I rang back to the accounts and said, that's it, end of contract, I'm not going to be doing it. I'll be bringing the car back. Later that day, somebody rang me back and said, look, you know, we'll get a manager to call you tomorrow, and they did. So because I'm in Wales and Weflex is in London, they don't have any local dealerships for the car to go back to. So they said, well, instead of you bringing the car all the way back to London for one of our garages, just get the car repaired in Wales and we'll refund you the money, which was great. I was quite happy with that. So I took down the car to tyres, got the tyres changed, no problem. Actually cheaper than I thought. I managed to get 2 tyres for £150, £75 each. They're quite big chunky tyres on the ID.4, so I thought they'd be a bit more expensive. So I'm quite happy with that. But then it came to doing the actual mechanical work, and that wasn't good. I only found 2 places in Newport willing to work on an EV. Everywhere else I went to just wasn't willing to work on EVs. So that wasn't very good. One of the places wouldn't give me a quote. They said, look, we can't get you in for at least 2 weeks. It's going to be over 2 weeks before we got a space. So the other place that would do EVs quoted me £850 for 2 arm suspension bushes, which sounded quite a lot of money for what the job that needs to be done. So whether or not they were ripping me off, I don't know. Maybe they were just taking advantage of the fact that nobody else in Newport wants to work with EVs. But anyway, they quoted me about £850. However, they couldn't get the parts. They contacted the main dealership, VW dealership in Newport, and they said the parts are on back order, but it could be days, it could be weeks before we get those parts. So evidently there is major issues with parts for the ID.4, very big issues with the supply chain. So I couldn't get that fixed, and certainly not within weeks, possibly, certainly not within days. So I contacted Weflex and said, look, got the tyres done, that's no problem, send you the receipt, I'll get a refund on that. But I can't get the work done, I can't get the parts for the front suspension. So I'm going to have to bring it back to you, and then you can deal with that yourself because I can't get it fixed up here. I said, that's okay, bring it back. We'll swap it for another car. We'll sort out another car, and you can take that one away and do that. Now, of course, I'd already paid £180 for the new plate on the car and the £50 test fee, so £230. Fortunately, when I contacted Newport Council and asked about, what was the situation about changing the registration number on the car and the plate, they said, look, you haven't collected the plate yet because it was still there waiting to be collected. Because it's not been used, we'll just cancel it and refund you your money. So I'll get me £180 back from the plate. That's not an issue. So I had to go down for the car. I reminded them, this was on the Thursday, I reminded them that I'd withdrawn my authority for them to take any payments out because I wasn't going to pay rent on a car that was just sat in the car park going nowhere. So I tell them Friday you can't take money out. I'm not going to be authorising payments until after I got a usable car. Right, so also on the Thursday, I had to take back the ioniq hybrid back to taxi rentals. So I was basically without a car from Thursday and not able to do any work. But as I took the car back, I was chatting to Andrew down at Taxi Rentals and he said, look, you've been a good customer, been with us for about a year, no issues, looked after the car really well. If you ever want to come back to us, let me know and we'll sort you out another car. And I said, well, I am having a few problems at the moment. If Weflex, the car's not plated yet, I've got no... And he said, look, it's there if you need it, come back and talk to us. So on the Friday morning, despite me telling them they don't have authority to take money out of the account, they took £269 out of my account, Weflex did. So that was it. I decided that I was going to end the contract there and then and take the car back, which I did yesterday, which was Monday. Now, I took the car back and got my refund, and it's all gone through the refund, sorted out and everything. Because even though it's a business-to-business contract, so your Consumer Credit and Consumer Credit Act doesn't apply, and consumer regulations and stuff doesn't apply because you're not consuming, it's business-to-business, the Sale of Goods Act 1975 still does apply. So a supply has to be fit for purpose and without fault. Now, obviously, the car was faulty, two dodgy rear wheels, rear tyres, and the suspension. It also wasn't fit for purpose. It was sold to be used as a private hire vehicle. It failed its test. So on those two grounds, I had the right to take it back and get my refund, which I did. But you've only got that for 14 days from the signing of the contract. After 14 days, the supplier can if they want to refund you, but normally their rights is that a repair or replacement. So that was it. Now, I was quite happy with having that replacement car until they took that money out of the bank account. But I wasn't going to start having a car parked up in the car park of flats, doing nothing for 2 weeks. I'd rung around to find out how long it would take to get the new car plated. And it was going to be next Thursday at the earliest. So that's another 2 weeks without a car because I couldn't get a cancellation anywhere. So I wasn't prepared to pay out £269 a week for a car to just to sit in a car park. So that's basically why I decided to hand the car back. Had they not taken that money out of the accounts, I'd have gone with that replacement car. And in fact, I very nearly did anyway. Now, as I was taking the car back yesterday morning, Taxi Rentals got in touch with me and said, look, if you're still having problems with Weflex, this car is still here for you and you can have it. You can have the ioniq hybrid back if you want it. So I said, yes, I'll take it. Because at that stage, I was going to hand the car back and that was it. So I said, yes, I'll have the ioniq back and I'm going to collect it tomorrow or Thursday. Now, when I got the car back to Weflex, they sorted me out a replacement car, a really nice one. Same reg, 71 plate, but it had done less than 22,000 miles. And they were also prepared to pay for the plating of the car in Newport. So that was worth £180. So had I not previously agreed just an hour earlier to take back the ioniq, I'd have probably gone for that. You know, Weflex, it's been a bit slow. They're not really geared for after sales, very much a sales organisation, but they have done quite well. And maybe I was a little bit harsh in saying no to having a replacement car. But there's a few things that really does concern me. I mean, I was really concerned about having to pay £269 a week for a car to sit in the car park, going nowhere and doing nothing and not earning money. I need to get back to earning money. Also, if that car had failed its MOT tax event, who'd have known how long it would have taken to get fixed, or how long it would be before I could get on the road? And I do need to get back on the road quite quickly, really. So it's not ideal, the ioniq. It's not great for the airport work that I'm doing. I do need a bigger car. I do love the ID.4, and I will be getting the ID.4. How I'm going to do that, you'll have to watch. I'm not quite sure yet, but I will be getting the ID.4. Car is fantastic. Loads of space for luggage. Great moverability around town. Really comfortable drive on the motorway. I've done all my figures. I've done all my ranges. I can probably do about 90 to 95% of the work that I get on airport work. I could probably do with the ID.4 with a little bit of organisation. So I am going to get the ID.4. A little bit concerning that it's very hard to get anyone who wants to work on EVs in Newport at the moment. That's an issue. Very expensive to maintain. I mean, £850 for a couple of bushes on the suspension. That's ridiculous sort of money. And supply parts. The supply chain is not good for EVs, including the ID.4. I did ring up the local VW dealership to find out how much it would cost to have it serviced. I'd heard that servicing was cheap. No, it's not. A 20,000 mile service in ID.4, £260. Seems a little bit steep for me. A whole lot more expensive than a petrol car. But it is a very nice car, the ID.4. So unless I can find something similar, because I like the high ride position, really nice. Then maybe can find a crossover hybrid. But the ID.4 is very nice. So would I go back to Weflex? Actually, yes, I would. There were issues in after sales, but overall, it's not that bad. It wasn't that bad. I was probably being a little bit harsh. If I lived in London, I would have no problems at all with going through Weflex. They've got all of their support in London. They've got their garages in London. They could fix things easier in London. It's just that being here in Wales, you're a little bit out of their sort of a support network. So that's a little bit difficult, that is. But if I was in London, I'd have no problems going to Weflex. I think they were slow. It was hard to get them to do things, but they did actually come up with the goods in the end. And I very nearly did go for that replacement. And had I not already agreed to take back the ioniq, I probably would have gone for it. But that's it. Watch this space. Am I going to get the ID.4? How am I going to fund it? And when will it happen? I do like the car. It's really nice. That's it. Thanks for watching. That's it. End of the Weflex saga. Car went back, no problems. When it came back, no problems. It's all sorted. And actually, I'm quite happy with Weflex. So don't take it as a negative against Weflex. It's just that sometimes contracts just don't go as planned, and contracts do end. Certainly nothing negative on my part. But that's it. Till next time, thanks for watching. Happy driving, and make that profit.